Hello guys, it's John here doing another Beyblade discussion. This time we have some news. So first up, let's just start getting into this. We had a lot. We have, of course, some remake news, but also Hasbro news as well. Hasbro has dropped this stuff. This is all the 3-2-1 stuff that we got from both, Japan and the, international side of things. So first up, let's go with the remakes first. So the first one we actually did get a full confirmation of, and this releases next month on April 27th, is Driger S. So we do have a Driger S remake that's coming out. We knew about Driger S for a while. I think we also knew about the parts for a while, honestly, so in case you don't know yet, the parts are 480 point. Honestly, not too big on these parts. I think the blade looks pretty good. I like the Driger S blade, but yeah, 480. I don't know about that. I get choosing a 4-sided ratchet, but I feel like 460 would have made more sense. Point, I guess, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like point should have been on Drownzer, and I think taper should have been on Driger. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. Point being on Driger, not the worst thing ever, but whatever, I guess. And I know that point came out after Drownzer got released, but I feel like, maybe we could have just had Driger release first with the initial wave and then Drownzer release now. That's just me. But, anyway. Overall, it's still looking cool. I'll still get it. I'll still probably like it, but part choices probably could have been a little bit better, if I'm being honest. Next up here, we have the other remakes. The first one is Storm Pegasus. So we are getting a Storm Pegasus remake. We don't know the parts or when it's coming out. We just know that it's happening. This is our first Metal Fight remake of Beyblade X. Looks really good. I do think that for Beyblade X, of course, being metal contact points, I think that Metal Fight remakes will work the best here. Kind of like how in Burst, I thought Box and Shoot remakes worked better than the Metal Fight ones. I think it's the opposite this gen, because again, metal contact points are back. So yeah, looks really cool. I like the Storm Pegasus remake. Very excited to see this when it comes out. Hopefully it comes out within the next couple months or so, but we'll see. After that, we of course have Valkyrie, our first Burst remake. This is so wild to see, honestly. I've been following Metal Fight since very early on as well, but I was there before Burst happened, after Burst happened. To me, Burst feels like, especially even early Burst feels very recent in my mind. Seeing us already getting a remake in a new gen, it's so weird to see. Kind of going the Box and Shoot route. You can't just have this thing as is, because again, it was they had plastic content points which you could be a little bit more dynamic with. So the boost disc is kind of modeled onto the blade to make it more round. Fair enough, honestly. I get it, but yeah. So yeah, Storm Pegasus and Victory Valkyrie. Yeah, these two. What parts will they have? I don't know. I don't know when they're releasing, but I did want to talk about them. As far as parts, I think they'll have. I think honestly, I think Storm Pegasus will have 360. Makes the most sense to me, and I think it'll have low flat, unless we have a rubber flat by the time it comes out. But I don't think we will. I assume maybe we will. I hope so. I can't talk. Anyway, Victory Valkyrie. I think they'll go at 960. Again, I don't think they'll use 360 on both, but I think that 960 would make sense. So anyway, as far as the bit goes, I could honestly see them using Gear Flat on this one. I feel like Gear Flat would be a sensible choice here, maybe. So yeah, anyway. That's it for the Takara Tomy side of things. Not a ton, honestly. Again, just kind of the confirmation of 2 remakes we already kind of knew they were happening, and also, again, Driger's getting released next month. Cool to see it, finally happening, but again, we knew about this one for a while. Now we get to the big news of the day. Hasbro Beyblade X is happening. I've been critical of them for a long time. Been very critical of Hasbro. I didn't talk about them a lot, though, because I just did not care to, but, Metal Fight, back then, I did not like Hasbro. I don't know, I liked them initially, but Metal Fury is when I started to dislike them. Metal Fusion, Metal Masters, great. Metal Fury, they dropped the ball. They did make Hyper Blades, which were nice, but why didn't we just get these from the start? Shogun Steel just felt like a little bit worse COG in my opinion, and then they did Beyblade Legends as kind of like some re-releases and stuff. Gave us some more like 40 bays, I guess, here and there, but again, wasn't enough in my eyes. Beyblade Burst starts up. I didn't like it. I bought a single 2-pack and never touched Hasbro Burst again. To this day, I only have 2 Hasbro Burst bays from that initial purchase. And I know early Burst, they weren't even as bad. I know like Evolution people liked as well, like, at least a decent amount. But yeah, Turbo went downhill. Rise went further down. Surge, I feel like they kind of got a little bit better for a bit, and then they just dropped the ball entirely again. And then Quad Drive and Quad Strike, I don't even need to say anything. Like, these were abysmal. They were like McDonald's toy quality. I made a video over a year ago on Hasbro and just why they were like just really, really bad. And kind of left it at that. And then I made another video about the partnership of Hasbro a few months ago and how Beyblade X would, of course, be handled by Hasbro and why I was like, yeah, this might not be a death sentence, but I was definitely apprehensive about it, so it's time. After all this time, after many, many years, well over a decade at this point, of just having issues with Hasbro, Beyblade X is here, and it actually looks good. I'm shocked. It looks good. So I'm surprised by this. This looks actually good. So we'll go ahead and start just going into each of the bays. So first up here, we have Sword Drawn. Now, by the way, I will say the Hasbro names to start, but after I say the name once, we're switching back to Takara Tomy names. I'm just saying. Anyway, so yeah. Mostly, though, it's just like the fact that they're swapping the names around kind of because I guess they want the motif second, and then they want the kind of the weapon or whatever to be the prefix. Sure. But yeah, Sword Drawn. I'm just going to call it Drawn Sword. So you can see the box, which looks kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about these box designs. They're kind of awkward looking to me. Feels like there's just a lot of blank space in them, but whatever. Color-wise, though, I like them better than the Takara Tomy boxes. But yeah, shape-wise and just kind of overall design-wise, I do think that, yeah, these aren't as good. Aside from that, though, my other big problem here is the launchers. These are basically like the X equivalent of the Burst proto-launchers. That's not good. So starters are just coming with these proto-launchers. They're not going to be that good. You gotta buy actual launchers separately, it seems. Honestly, kind of a big L. I don't like this at all. I really wish they would have just given us the launchers. However, I've been hearing that these are like $10 a piece. So you know what? If we can get these bays normally without paying Pro Series costs, great. They're more in tune with Japanese prices. Still not good. However, more importantly is the bay. Obviously, the launcher situation is unfortunate, but the main thing we care about is how are the bays looking? Are the bays looking good? And I've had the image up on screen for a while. Drawn Sword, it looks good. It looks like a Takara Tomy Drawn Sword. It looks identical to a Takara Tomy Drawn Sword. Perfect. We actually have a legitimate Beyblade being released by Hasbro. That's not, Pro Series, which Pro Series was just kind of garbage. I never liked it because, again, should have just gotten that stuff from the start. But yeah, this time it looks like, yeah, the start of the gen, we're actually getting regular bays. Great. Finally. It's about time. So everything here, well I guess launcher aside, but yeah, the actual bay itself looks good, and it makes sense. Alright, next up here, we have, of course, Scythe Incendio. So they are renaming Hell Scythe, the Hell's part of it, to Incendio. Not the biggest fan of that name, but at the same time, obviously they were not keeping Hells. So anyway, Hell Scythe. Another starter, and it is another bay that, again, looks like a Takara Tomy bay. Great. Finally. It's just nice to see. Quickly going over the other two starters here. Next up, Arrow Wizard. So again, it looks like a Takara Tomy Wizard Arrow. Great. Also, one thing I actually want to point out here is that there is a Takara Tomy logo in the top right corner of the box. I figured that was worth noting. Bottom right corner has the Hasbro logo, but yeah. So again, Takara Tomy clearly taking more initiative in the international market to ensure their products are actually good. And the last, just kind of regular starter here, the last of the original four, Helm Knight. So I guess they renamed the Shield part of that to Helm. I guess Shield Knight sounds a little bit awkward. Maybe. Helm Knight, sure. Anyway, Knight Shield. Looks good. Again, just typical Knight Shield. Very, very nice. Very happy to see this. Now we move on to the launcher. Okay, yes, there is a kind of this winder launcher. It says tournament grade on the box. This is kind of like a standard looking ripcord launcher that we got in the regular Takara Tomy starters. So again, you do have to purchase these separately. I'm not a fan of this. I really don't like that. However, at the same time, I don't mind the fact that these exist as their own product. I actually wouldn't mind if Takara Tomy released these launchers on their own just for the sake of accessibility. But again, forcing these into their own product really sucks. But as of right now, it's like the only big problem I have with Hasbro Beyblade X. Aside from that, it's fine. Moving on to another starter. Alright. Soar Phoenix. So Phoenix Wing. I guess again they changed the wing to Soar. I guess Wing Phoenix, I guess I thought sounded awkward. Sure, okay. Anyway, Phoenix Wing. This one does come with a launcher, and it is a string launcher. A red string launcher, the same one we got with Phoenix Wing from Takara Tomy. The bay itself looks pretty good. I will say there are a couple things I noticed here. First up, the red paint looks like it might be a little bit lighter. I don't know if it's actually just that, or if it's the maybe the lighting that they used or whatever. I don't know if it's just a little bit lighter, or if it's just, again, the lighting here. But yeah. If so, not a big deal. Again, this is like a Metal Masters type of problem, like when Flame Bixis released and like the 230 WD were like a little bit of a different shade of red, like not the biggest deal. I will take a slight shade variance over whatever Hasbro Burst was any day. I did notice one legitimate problem though, which is the gear chip. This wasn't present on the other base, but the gear chip looks like it wasn't made quite right. Like the top part is way thicker than it should be, like the sticker on it. I don't know what happened there. That's not how it is in the Takara Tomy one. I don't know if that's... It's like that in the box too, so I don't know if this was like a misprint or something, or if they just legitimately screwed up here. Hoping that's a misprint or like an early, test build or whatever, early concept. I don't know. Just something that's not going to be in the final release. Hope they take care of that. Right now, that looks a little bit awkward to me. If they take care of it, great. If not, that does feel a little bit concerning for the possible future releases and potential quality control if they mess up a sticker and just leave it like that. But we'll see, I guess. Assuming that's just kind of an error, then yeah, Phoenix One is looking good as well. Regardless, even if it's a sticker error, let's be honest, I will take that any day over Hasbro Burst. It's still a Beyblade X bait, you can still use it just fine, so still overall pretty good. And lastly, we have the set. So yeah, the Extreme Battle set. So in this set, we have a few things here. There are a couple launchers. These do seem to be the kind of proto-launcher type of things. Really, in the set, come on. That's an L. We have the stadium. Now, one thing to note, the stadium looks a little bit different. It's a little bit more oval, from what I could tell. The extreme line, also following that, is a bit more oval. This should be fairly close to Takara Tomy stadiums. It's still the same gimmick, it's still the same idea. But I do have to wonder how that'll affect performance of the extreme line. Of course, being less round, there will be more kind of, not straight, but like it'll be less of a curve. So will that increase or decrease speeds? I think that'll decrease speeds, actually, personally. We'll see, but, I almost wonder if they did that as a safety precaution. Maybe they thought the Japanese ones were too fast, and maybe the oval one will slow them down a little bit, so they're not quite as crazy, because again, metal contact points, bursting parts, flying everywhere. I kind of get it, if that was the reason for it, but yeah. A little bit of a weird change, but again, I will let that play out, and I'm not going to comment too much on it. And then there's the two other bays. We have the first bay here, which is Dagger Drawn, or Drawn Dagger. Looks like I would expect from Drawn Dagger. Again, it's a Takara Tomy bay, great. But then there's one very curious thing here. TuskMammoth 360 taper. What is this? For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to be calling this MammothTusk, because MammothTusk, I think, is a better sounding name, but also it follows the Japanese name convention, so I'm going to call it that. Anyway, Mammoth Tusk. This bay is something we've never gotten from Takara Tomy before. What is this? I've heard some people say this is like a leaked bay or something, like it's going to happen later in, Beyblade X, like in a few months or something. They just happen to release it early. And Hasbro might do this on occasion where, they release a bay and it hasn't released in Japan yet. I don't think that's the case here. So, a couple reasons for this. First up, Mammoth Tusk is very, very similar to Scythe in shape. I personally feel like this is sort of a, drawn sword phoenix feather situation. Not exactly, like, I don't think it'll be like a Takara Tomy release where they, release this bay as like its own thing. Not like that, I just mean that the shape is very similar, and I don't think that'll be a Takara Tomy thing. I think that this is just kind of a basic shape that Hasbro decided to make as its own, thing. And they might be a little bit less caring about, I guess, like, different blades being more dynamic or whatever. They might have just made it for the hell of it. Who knows? Honestly, they might have just made it to sell the set. That could be it as well. Because it's so similar, I feel like maybe it's not a Takara Tomy part. But also the combo, 360 taper. If you told me this was a bay back in, like, October or something, I could have believed you. But here's the thing, we have not gotten a single main line bay with a reused bit. Every single bay has had a new bit. The only exceptions are remakes, because, well, the remakes, Phoenix Feather, because it wasn't really a proper bay, and Cobalt Drake, which was a rare bay battle release. Every other bay has had a new bit. This one doesn't. Even if you want to argue, well, maybe they're just, it's like the first one of its kind, you can't count that out. Which is fair, but here's the thing. If they did a bay with reused ratchet and bit, I just don't think it'd be 360 taper. I feel like it's just too late in Beyblade X at this point for them to just do 360 and taper as the reused parts. I feel like they'd have at least one other part would be newer, like maybe 960 taper or 360 high taper or something. I just don't personally believe that they would, give us these old parts. With that said, I don't think this is actually a Takara Tomy bay that got leaked. I think this is genuinely a Hasbro exclusive bay. Maybe Takara Tomy will like reprint it eventually or something. Maybe they'll put it in like a set, which would be pretty cool if they do. But I do honestly believe this is a Hasbro exclusive bay for right now. And anything in the future would be kind of Takara Tomy kind of reverse engineering it back to, Japan for this bay. So with that said, a Hasbro exclusive. That's kind of crazy to think about. Like, yeah. We've gotten them in bursts before, but, like, Hasbro burst was horrible, so I didn't care. But yeah, looks like we might be getting Hasbro exclusive bays, which is very cool. Very, very cool. Give some more, Beyblade X bays, because, we usually only get, like, one a month, maybe two on occasion. 3 or 4 is a very, very rare occasion. So, getting some more bays, never really a bad thing in my eyes, so yeah, pretty cool looking set in that case. Again, technically a brand new bay here. So with all that said, Hasbro Beyblade X. It looks good. Again, couple issues here and there. Again, not the biggest fan of the boxes, which is very whatever. And also the stadium. Have to see how it plays out. But aside from that, my only real issues are like the gear chip sticker on Phoenix Wing possibly being messed up. Does give me some concerns for quality control, and also the launcher situation kind of does suck, but the bays themselves, they look good. They actually look good. The only question is the materials. Will the materials be the same as, Takara Tomy? Will it be a Pro Series situation where the materials are a little bit worse, or will it just be 1-to-1? We'll see. We have to see if they're going to cheap out on the materials. If they cheap out on the materials, it's still honestly pretty good. I still think it is. I still think that you're getting the correct bays, and it's no Pro Series nonsense where they're going back after like 3 years to release the proper bays. That was horrible. None of that nonsense, so we're good. Even if the quality is worse, it's still getting passing marks in my eyes. It would be unfortunate though, but we'll cross that bridge when it actually comes out, alright? I'll make a discussion if it does happen. But for now, I'm just happy to see that Beyblade is looking like it should internationally. And with that said, the last thing I want to say here. Again, I basically skipped out on Beyblade Burst. internationally. I made one unboxing on Beyblade Burst from Hasbro, the 2-pack, the Carbeast and Horsuit one. Never again. Will I be doing Hasbro stuff for Beyblade X? Yeah, I will. I'm not going to go back to get every bay. I'm not getting all the bays that I already have. I'm not doing that. That's pointless. However, any Hasbro exclusives, or even if they end up being, not exclusive, they just happen to release first from Hasbro, whatever. If it's a new bay to me, I'm buying it. I will buy any exclusive Hasbro bays, because again, they are looking like Takara Tomy bays, so to me, it is basically just getting another Takara Tomy bay, just from a different place, so I have no problem with that. So yeah, I will be buying Hasbro Beyblade X bays, finally. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Again, I'll be able to actually walk into a store and just buy a bay if I want to, without actually hating it, so that's nice. Yeah, or order them for regular retail price, that'd also be good. I'm honestly just very excited that I could finally buy local bays again, because they aren't looking horrible. So yeah, that's basically it for this month's discussion, well, news discussion anyway. Good stuff overall. Again, the Takara Tomy side of things, again, Driger, pretty nice, and nice to get full confirmation of, Storm Pegasus and Victory Valkyrie, but news wasn't really as crazy as I thought it was going to be. However, from the Hasbro side, massive W. Actually crazy that we're getting Beyblade X adapted correctly again. Gotta wait to see on the quality control, gotta see how that goes. I'm a little bit concerned about that still. But again, if nothing else, it's bare minimum Pro Series, but normal priced and comes out when it should. And isn't, following up the garbage releases like years later. So, I'll take it. It's far better than anything we've gotten since, I would argue, probably Metal Masters. Maybe Shogun Steel if you want to be nice, or Legends or whatever, but we're still talking like a decade ago, so it's about time. Anyways, that's all I gotta say for this discussion. Let me know what you think about some of the remakes and what you might think about those, but also Hasbro. How are you feeling about Hasbro Beyblade X actually not seeming like absolute garbage? Are there any other issues you have with it? Any that I didn't mention? Or are you just excited to see, Beyblade X back? I know I'm just excited to see Beyblade back for Hasbro because it's been so long, so yeah. Anyways, that's all for this video. I feel like it's been kind of a mess of a video. I just had a lot to say and I've been saying it very quickly. It's already a long video, so I tried. Anyway, that's it. So, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.